Welcome to the kill-death ratio, where I count all my kills and all my deaths. Today, I'm playing Spider-Man Miles Morales. Developed by Insomniac Games for the PlayStation 4 and 5 in 2020 as a spin-off sequel to their massively successful game from 2018. As a rookie superhero under the tutelage of Peter Parker, he's suddenly thrust into the role as New York's only Spider-Man when Peter joins Mary Jane overseas to cover the Civil War in Symkaria. In the absence of Peter Parker, how will Miles' body count stack up as the lone friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?
Menace! A feckless, treacherous, unhinged menace!
I select amazing difficulty, and we segue into Miles being quite the gentleman, as he lets everyone else off the train before him. His mom shoots him a text requesting he snag some groceries on his way home, while she stays at the office to prepare for her campaign rally for city council. She ain't gonna interrupt this jam sesh as Miles listens to Where We Come From by Lecrae, and gets sidetracked when a local artist is putting up an incomplete Spidey mural.
Beautiful work, by the way. Maybe leave a little room for the new guy, just in case.
Oh yeah, that guy definitely doesn't think you're the other Spider-Man now. Before we get the chance to get groceries, the OG Spider-Man sends an alert that a convoy is leaving soon and to meet him nearby, where we watch as he defies gravity by slurping on that delicious bean water. We link up with the convoy transporting escaped prisoners back to the raft, alongside a certain tanky supervillain who uses his strength to turn this operation sour, making the aircraft crash into the streets where Rhino is able to break free of his container. He takes charge, freeing prisoners in his rampage. Pete focuses on the pachyderm himself, while Miles dabbles in the fine art of criminal tussling to net his first 15 KOs. While Miles handles them easily, Pete isn't having nearly as easy of a time and requests some help. We helplessly watch as more thugs escape and divert our attention to the big, horny man.
What did he say?
Rhino rampages through the streets and ruins Christmas for all these late shoppers when he charges through a mall where he really just wanted to show us Insomniac's logo hanging from the ceiling. And he also gives J. Jonah Jameson even more reason to be a hater. For once in his life, Rhino proves to be a hero when he lights a fire to warm the neighborhood during this cold, snowy day, which really sets the mood for our next skirmish against these armed thugs. Right away, the game feels familiar, yet Miles has a completely unique feel to him. He's just different enough from Peter that the game feels fresh, and it makes me beyond excited about the second game. Drop a comment and let me know which character you prefer, Peter or Miles, and will you be playing Spider-Man 2 on day 1? While Miles is over here handling his business, Peter allows Rhino to get the upper hand.
This Spider-Man is broken. I would like to exchange for new one.
Miles has similar powers to Peter, but he has the awesome ability of bioelectricity, which gives us a way to fast-track Rhino into unconsciousness. With impeccable timing, Roxxon Energy's security force arrives to do absolutely nothing as we introduce ourselves to the most punchable face in New York, Simon Krieger, played by the legendary Troy Baker, who is one of the most well-known and prolific actors in the video game space right now. Featured previously on this channel for his work in God of War and, of course, in The Last of Us. Simon is the head of research and development for Roxxon, who is moving into Harlem to begin a new sustainable energy project. Luckily for them, we save them some money by demolishing the building on the property they just purchased. He tells the Spider Bros to swing off while they hold on to Rhino until the police show up and take him away. We debrief over some pizza that's much superior to deep dish, and Pete expresses a little bit of jealousy over Miles' newfound Zappy Pop powers. He drops a massive web bomb on Miles though, telling him he's going to be out of the country for a few weeks as MJ's photographer while she covers the Civil War going on in Silver Sable's home country of Symkaria. The prospect of being New York's only Spider-Man already gives Miles the nervous bubble guts, but you know what cures that anxiety? Presents! But like a parent scolding their kid for trying to open their gift early, Peter forces Miles to take the oath of Spider-Man first.
I promise to bash criminals all day and all night.
Yuri Lowenthal and Najee Jeter return to play Peter and Miles respectively. Despite being a major side character in the first game, Najee didn't know Insomniac were planning to make a Miles spin-off game until after Spider-Man released in 2018. Due to the popularity of Into the Spider-Verse, Najee fully realized how big of a deal it was when his younger cousins and siblings freaked out upon learning he was set to play Miles in his own game. In order to prepare for his role as New York's other Spider-Man, Yuri Lowenthal enthusiastically taught him the ropes, showing him how to get the swinging motion down so he can nail it when it came time for motion capture, where Najee actually performed a lot of his own stunts. These games weren't the first time he played the titular character, however, as he first lent his voice for Disney XD's Spider-Man series. We part ways with Peter and call our friend Genki, who is the only person outside of Peter that knows Miles is Spider-Man. We swing to his location, show off our new present, our own ill-fitting spider suit, baby. Fuck yeah! But that's only the first half of our present. The second half involves some holographic training sessions designed to show off some more advanced fighting techniques that 16 of the holo drones fall victim to. Like Aunt May, Pete's training simulation fizzles out, just in time for some thieves to arrive and join the drones in a small part of the count. Before heading home, we hear about a break-in at the nearby Roxxon Plaza, where Simon kindly educates us on their 100% certified safe and cheap renewable energy called Nuform that will power Harlem for years to come. As Miles investigates the break-in, he's attacked by a group tracking Roxxon Nuform shipments, who succeed in being shipped off to the ER when Miles hits them with a flurry of fists. We leave Roxxon to clean up my mess and head home where Rio Morales tells her son to get things proper for a special guest due to arrive any minute. Real quick, we get the ambient lighting plugged in, stop for a quick reading session with one of Dad's old case files on the Prowler, and set the mood right with some smooth jazz. Right on cue, Miles' childhood best friend Finn arrives, played by Jasmine Savoy Brown, probably best known for her roles in Scream, The Leftovers, and Yellow Jackets. We introduce her to our new best friend Genki,
Bringer of darkness.
which is something we can now rectify with our fingertips. At dinner, we catch up a bit until Rio asks Finn about her brother and Roxxon, making her wish the darkness back, until she snaps out of it and talks about how brutal Rio's campaign ad was against Roxxon. Weirded out by Finn's dead eyes, Rio instead turns to Genki and asks if he can perform a targeted shitpost campaign against Roxxon, and they run off to post cringe on Maine while Miles and Finn catch up while washing dishes. Finn refuses to elaborate on her morose-ass attitude, and they make plans to chill the next day. Afterwards, we hang out with our real best friend in my room as Genki tells us about an app he created called Friendly Neighborhood that allows people to connect directly to Spider-Man instead of relying on police scanners to alert us. Our first request comes in from Miles' uncle Aaron Davis, whose first day on the job finds him in quite the pickle with the trains going down and no solution to be found. Sounding like a child pretending to be his dad over the phone, Miles lowers his voice to remain anonymous. Aaron believes this new group of punk-ass fools called the Underground are responsible, and points me further down the tracks where I catch one member of this group and turn their namesake into reality for this one individual. Using our Zappy Pops, we shut down the signal jammer and repurpose the device into a new gadget that allows Miles to bring out holodrones to fight alongside him, and we immediately get a chance to try it out against 39 members of the Underground. We link back up with Unk, who could see right under that mask the whole time, but promises Miles his secret is safe with him and to let him know if he ever needs help with anything. We continue using the app to ingrain ourselves in Harlem and really help out the neighborhood for neighbor good.
Hey, right here.
What? Not you. My cat. Named after the real Spider-Man.
He overheard the thugs mention a power substation down the street, so we head that way, and over the course of about 10 minutes, we primarily take out the catnappers quietly until we're spotted by senior catnapper himself, and show him what he deserves for stealing someone's furry friend. This game proves to be the best one ever when Miles pets that kitty. Oh, and I guess turning the power back on is cool too, but returning that Kit Kat back to Teo is our end goal, which earns us some praise from the reluctant shop owner. Miles swings for miles to meet Finn on a rooftop where they uncover one of the many time capsules they stashed throughout the city. This one in particular triggers a memory of Finn's brother Rick offering some wizardly advice.
Keep it secret, keep it safe.
He leaves to take a phone call from Roxxon, and we cut back to the present day to uncover that good. Miles brings up Rick, which again sours Finn's mood and abruptly ends the hangout sesh. Instead, we go chill with our bro Genki, who accompanies Miles during Rio's campaign rally. Miles chats up a local street artist, and we find out Gloria, that homeless woman Pete saved at the beginning of his game, has joined Feast as one of the Harlem location's primary volunteers. As the rally is about to begin and we spot the Roxxon security guards, Miles is taken back to Norman Osborn's rally where his father died. Unfortunately, this family is doomed to not attend these rallies because the Underground's leader, the Tinkerer, has a violent message for Roxxon that forces Miles into superhero mode. During the fight, we learn his mom got injured, and thankfully it's nothing serious. In the distance, we see an explosion, where we see the Jets and the Sharks, the Underground and Roxxon ready for a dance-off. Miles does his best to resolve the situation peacefully, however, the Tinkerer gives him the boot and triggers the fight while they take a canister of Nuform. Shoo, if all I knew you wanted was some energy, Miles could have helped. The sudden burst of electricity coming from Miles destabilizes the Nuform as well as the Tinkerer's equipment, revealing Finn is the person leading this sideshow. The sudden realization his friend is actually an asshole and the sudden explosion from the Nuform surprises him, allowing Finn to escape and leaving Miles behind to fight her goons. Once they're defeated, Miles realizes the bridge is beginning to collapse and we're treated to this awesome freaking sequence with Miles jumping around and saving every civilian on the bridge, ending with him pulling the bridge together to allow the trapped people back into the city. That act gains the civilians' favor, but Roxxon tries to get their rocks off by aiming their weapons at Spidey. But this is where we're introduced to another sweet-ass power when he activates his camouflage and escapes. The following day, we hate listen to Jameson's show while Krieger blames Spider-Man for the bridge collapse. But Genki is like, fuck that nonsense, let's make you a sick suit that's compatible with your powers. Cue the montage of the two teenagers combining their genius to give Miles his own unique flair. I really like this suit, but I love the Spider-Verse movies so much and consider them the best Spider-Man movies ever made, so I'm biased towards the Spider-Verse suit included in the game. Justin Thompson with the production design team for Into the Spider-Verse worked closely with Insomniac to make the movie's outfit true to the original source. It's wild swinging along at 12 frames per second and seeing the sound effects on screen during fights. I love every second of that shit. But I do keep the original costume made for the game the entire time. Miles arrives at Finn's family's old shop to see if he can find clues that will help him piece together her actions. We discover her brother was the head researcher behind Nuform and along with his team fell deathly ill. The hidden back room contains a video showing Finn and her brother working together to eliminate Nuform entirely. But something went awry when we see a distressed Finn mumbling something about losing her phone. But before we can track its location, the shutter doors open and Miles, who is still not fully in control of his camouflage yet, is forced to smack around some criminals that bumps my KO count to over 200. We jump back to the computer and track Finn's old phone to a Roxxon lab. We zippity-doo-dah our way over there, however, as the camera zooms out, we see someone has been watching us this entire time. We arrive at Roxxon's research labs where the Nuform project began, and quickly take out the 3 guards stationed outside. Miles has played enough Splinter Cell to know what it takes to make it through this level, but Sam Fisher never had to deal with the likes of the Prowler, who reveals himself as his uncle and urges Miles to GTFO. That's not an option, so Unc decides to help Miles out and provides another gadget that allows us to take out multiple guys in one button press. That really comes in handy during our time in this research center, taking out a total of 39 wannabe badasses. We find Finn's phone and give it a charge to find the final video file, revealing Simon Krieger is a massive asshole. Shocker, right? Wait, no, not that shocker. He kills Finn's brother as they attempt to sabotage the Nuform reactor and she barely makes it out of there. We're already here, so Miles decides to finish what they started and absorbs the massive amount of energy the reactor puts out, which ends up destroying the only evidence that could lock Krieger up. After narrowly escaping with his uncle, Aaron tells us to find Finn and tell her he wants to join the underground, so that he can gain intel on them and her and to absolutely not tell her that he's Spider-Man. Before tackling that situation, we have a more local one with the people at Feast suddenly being kicked out into the cold due to a burst water pipe. One of the locals spotted some guys casing the place, and soon afterwards this mess happened following a highly suspicious visit from the city inspector. I smell something foul afoot. It might be this trash blocking the water pipe, but it feels more than that. There it is, the foul stench of criminals. Miles drops some bows on their asses and overhears the thugs mention their boss is located inside the raft. Genki promises to look into it while Miles turns the water back on and swings back to Feast to give everyone the good news. However, they aren't the only ones in Harlem experiencing troubles, as some local shop owners are having large amounts of inventory stolen before it ever gets to them. One of them went to check out the shipping center to see what's up and found out exactly what when she gets kidnapped. Miles reminds these thugs this is a friendly neighborhood and saves Camila from the trunk of their car. She informs Spidey that some men were paid to take their inventory, so we head over to the docks nearby and show them the punishment for larceny. We locate their inventory and return it to the businesses, where the local barber offers to give anyone a free haircut if they hit that like button, and Camila will feed anyone that subscribes. In a creator-to-creator conversation, writer of Miles Morales' Spider-Man, Saladin Ahmed, details his approach to the story, saying he felt building up where Miles comes from was just as important as Miles himself, so he built up Brooklyn first to lay the groundwork for those comics. Brian Horton, the creative director behind the game, and senior animator James Hamm agreed, and felt it was important to represent Miles' background. Taking a lot of inspiration from Into the Spider-Verse, they sunk many hours of research into making Miles' Puerto Rican heritage represented accurately. Afterwards, we meet Finn for some coffee and get her to talk by telling her he stopped by her shop and found out about Rick. She apologizes for getting his mom hurt at her rally.
If that new Spider-Man hadn't shown up, everyone would have been fine.
Oh, that's so weird. You commit crimes in New York and Spider-Man shows up? Who could have predicted that? She agrees to take Miles to the Underground's hideout located inside Fisk Tower now that he's in prison. Finn admits she's purely after Roxxon and Krieger, whereas the Underground wants to build their notoriety and do whatever they want. So basically like lame-ass Hammerhead. After the grand tour, Miles tells Finn his mom needs him, so she dramatically dips out, which gives Miles the chance to let Spider-Man in and eliminate 24 members of her gang. We discover a hidden passage, but they move the new form out of there to a place uptown. We can't exactly leave here empty-handed, so we add 6 more KOs to the count instead. We swing to the theater and take out the security stationed outside. We break into the theater to laugh, to cry, to fight, because they need that. All of them. That indescribable feeling we get when our fists pulverize a villain and they go somewhere they've never been before. Not just entertained, but somehow broken together. Dazzling violence as I wipe out the Underground. Punches we can feel. Somehow, broken bones feel good in a place like this. After showing them my new form, I take their new form until the Tinkerer jumps Miles and takes the canister back. This starts a chase sequence that has Miles begging Finn to stop running so they can talk things out. Not really in a chatty mood, she asks for one reason not to end him, and he hits her with the old guilt trip.
My mom would be very upset.
Finn disappears out of thin air and ghosts Miles, so in the meantime we link up with Haley, who has some intel on the gang that's been terrorizing the people in Harlem. She spotted them at a shipping center near the river where 20 thugs are quietly eliminated. We find a lift that takes us to a hidden room the thugs are using to communicate with their boss, Wilson fucking Fisk. Yankee shuts down communication, but not before Fisk threatens to hurt the people Miles cares about most. On that ominous note, we get a call that the remainder of Fisk's men are wreaking havoc at a nearby park, successfully bumping that KO count into the 400s, earning me a sick addition to my outfit and giving Harlem a reprieve from Kingpin-backed crimes. With Finn still radio silent, we hang out with Uncle Aaron, which opens up some side quests that has Miles explore the city to gain some sound samples to create the absolutely worst god-awful beat known to man. It's no wonder Unc had to resort to crime as the Prowler because bro needs to stop producing these beats. Miles confesses he's going to try and meet Finn at the Trinity Church and talk her out of her plan to blow up Roxxon Plaza using the new form. As he departs, we stick with Aaron a little longer while he makes a phone call telling someone where they can find the Tinkerer and to leave Spider-Man alone. We meet Finn, who is furious at Miles for his incessant lies and refuses to budge on her plan. Miles agrees Roxxon needs to pay for what they did to her brother, but they can find another way to do it. However, he gets the tingles when a new and improved Rhino skydives his way into their conversation and knocks Finn out. He shows his suit is invulnerable to Miles' venom powers and knocks him out too. We wake up to the worst kind of jump scare, with Krieger's face right in ours. Like a certain man-baby billionaire, he tries taking credit for Rick's ideas, and Finn is quick to fact-check him.
Well, at least I still got a pulse, babe.
So, should I leave, or... Krieger tries taking off my mask and gets the kind of shock I get when sliding off my couch and touching a light switch. He leaves Roxxon security to do their thing, which is turning Miles Super Saiyan, which somehow doesn't harm Finn at all. We work together to find a way out of this facility, with Finn helping open the way forward while Miles takes out all the meat bags blocking our exit. But on our way out, we overhear Uncle Aaron telling Krieger he wasn't supposed to take Spider-Man 2 and threatens to go public with everything he's done. Krieger calls him on it, knowing damn well it'll land Unc in prison too, and then does this annoying, cringy ass exit.
I'm gonna head in and check on Miss Mason and Spider-Man, but it's kind of an invite-only party.
God, I hate that guy. We find the exit and Finn's gadgets, but before we leave, we do some snooping on Krieger's computer to find some damning information that would sink Roxxon. Before we can download it, Rhino charges in to begin round 2 against the big guy.
You like my new color? Immune to your little zappy pops.
During this skirmish, I take out 3 of Roxxon's guards, but Finn does an awesome job of distracting them while I focus on Rhino and little by little break down his suit with her help so we can hit him with the venom.
Ready for some zapping pops, big guy?
After a few big hits, we take down Alexei for the second time, who I'll be counting again as Roxxon took him in and upgraded his suit. Miles has Finn stay behind to watch him while he goes back to Krieger's PC to download the data, and in the process finds out if Finn blows up Roxxon Plaza, it won't just be a small boomy, but a big boomy that will wipe out Harlem entirely. When he does that, Rhino taunts Finn until she's close to killing him, but the Oath of Spider-Man doesn't allow killing. So Miles tackles Finn and they wind up inside the subway subway tunnels where she gives him an absolute beatdown and threatens to kill him if he comes near her again. He struggles to get home and his mom walks in to find out who he really is. Miles, bro, you are doing a pretty terrible job of keeping your identity under lock and key. Genki informs Miles the Science Center is now where the underground is residing, and while we head that way, he and Rio will begin evacuating residents nearby in case Finn succeeds in blowing up the reactor at Roxxon Plaza. However, we get sidetracked when Unk spider-naps Miles and brings him to his compound in a poor attempt to save him. He has the right intentions, but his methods are garbage, and Miles lets him know it. We take on 7 of his holograms and put Uncle Aaron in his place.
I can't turn my back when people need me.
I love this moment because it's a stark contrast to what we saw when Peter told Miles he was leaving for a while. He was scared and unconfident, and now he's whipping his uncle's ass and swinging off to save the city. I clear out the exterior of the Science Center and take a trip down memory lane once I'm inside. We jump back to middle school age Miles and Finn as they come to the museum to take a look at an energy converter they created that's now on display in a special exhibit. Back during the present, we find the new form along with our energy converter and our now ex-best friend, who refuses to listen to Miles despite his warnings against the reactor's explosion radius. This leads into a massive battle that begins at the Science Center against the Underground and ends in the streets of Harlem in a 3-way battle between Miles, the Underground, and Roxxon. Once the streets are cleared, the neighborhood and a special guest that got some sense knocked into him come together to begin evacuating people while Miles moves on to the plaza to stop Finn. We arrive right in time to watch her insert the new form into the reactor. This final fight of the game is both frustrating and incredibly fun. It's frustrating because Finn is so goddamn annoyingly stubborn in her decision. She experienced a huge tragedy and lost her brother to an awful corporation, so I get why she wants to make them pay, but she's doing this at the expense of an entire neighborhood of New York, and just because Miles rightfully kept a secret from not only her, but everyone else in his life. She decides every word he says is a lie. Despite all that, I thank her for her terribly stupid logic, because hot damn, this boss fight rules. It's intense, it's chaotic, it's cinematic, and the stakes are very high. Just when you think the fight is over, it begins again in another phase. After 10 minutes of beating the hell out of each other, we bring her down and make it 2 for 2, and we seemingly knock some sense into her as well.
This shouldn't be happening.
I fucking told you! The reactor starts going critical, causing Finn to lose her balance and for Miles to catch her and earn her apology before taking the brunt of the impact. He makes sure Finn is fine before beginning a dramatic walk towards the reactor, where he absorbs the immense amount of energy it's releasing. Unable to contain it, he tells Finn to get everyone far away before he explodes. Instead, she pulls herself up by her fancy bootstraps, grabs Miles, and jumps high into the air. She encourages him to release the pent-up energy, and we get this beautiful and tragic shot as she's vaporized, and Miles falls all the way back down. His mom hurries over to check on him, and like the true hero he is, the first thing he wants to know is if everyone is okay.
I'm not your little girlfriend, though.
Half of Harlem at this point knows who he is now, but can't let the press know too, so they give him the mask back and tell the media to eat it.
He's our Spider-Man.
4 weeks later, we watch as Simon Krieger is shoved into the back of a police cruiser courtesy of Aaron Davis, who will serve some time himself but gets a lesser sentence for blowing the whistle. We see the mural is now complete while Miles again listens to Lecrae's Where We Come From. He jumps to the rooftops where both Spider-Men hang out and Pete tells him how much cooler his suit is. We end with both Spideys pursuing a speeding vehicle and the credits roll. This is Marvel though, so you know we got a couple mid and post-credit scenes to cover. The mid-credit scene will lead us into Spider-Man 2 as it shows Norman furiously yelling at Dr. Curtis Connor to get Harry out of the Bacta tank. And once the credits are finished, we get a somber scene of Miles placing his and Finn's science award atop the roof of Trinity Church. As Miles says one last goodbye to his friend, we wave hello to the final numbers. I finished Miles Morales with 549 knockouts, matching Pete's exact total from the city that never sleeps. With the Underground being the primary gang, they made up 46% of the enemies KO'd. But despite being in prison, Wilson Fisk's men outnumbered Roxxon and took second place at 22%. Our fists were the primary weapon used, but that barely edged out stealthy methods, totaling 127 and 122 KOs respectively. You may have noticed this already, but Miles Morales is the first game this year where I didn't die a single time, joining the Resident Evil remake as the second game covered on this channel without a death. That gives us a kill-death ratio of 549, just barely losing out to Spider-Man's 549.33. Despite being a full-price game, Miles Morales took a less time to beat than The City That Never Sleeps at 5 hours and 16 minutes, which gives us a KO KO on average every 35 seconds, and a death never. Miles Morales was a really fun, albeit short game that served to connect us to the character more, leading into the epic looking sequel coming out in October. I know that's my most anticipated game of the year, and I'll put that video out as soon as I can when it's released. I had a blast covering these games and plan to get back into some horror titles. I have the original Silent Hill planned next and want to cover the Alan Wake and Remedyverse before Alan Wake 2 comes out. Thanks as always for watching. I'm King Deschain, signing off for now.